So the removal of the flag has taken on great meaning for leaders across the country. Earlier today, I spoke with civil rights leader and activist Reverend Jesse Jackson about what it means to him. Civil rights activist and founder of the Rainbow Push Coalition, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. joins me this morning. Reverend Jackson, it's great to see you. You're a native son of South Carolina, born in Greenville. What's it mean to you to be standing here on the State House grounds on this historic day?
Well, first of all, as a high school senior, our class could not take a picture on the lawn of this state capitol. I was arrested here in 1960 trying to use a public library. My father had to sit behind Nazi prisoners of war on American military bases, so I realized the depth of racial segregation. Also contested, this is the second flag. The first flag represented secession, sedition, overthrow of our government, and slavery. It was furled and given to U.S. grant by Robert E. Lee. This is the second flag. This flag represents racial segregation of races and resources. And so as it comes down now, the policies it represents must also come down. For example, 1 million people in this state have no health insurance. They're eligible for Medicaid. And yet the state rejects $11 billion in affordable health care. So policies that reject the federal government must also come down as well.
Reverend, we have a picture of you when that historic vote happened in the House yesterday. I want to show that. Can you describe a little bit of what was going through your mind when the legislature of your native state decided to take down this symbol of segregation?
Well, it's been quite a duel. It's almost like a kind of Lincoln-Douglas debate, a freedom versus slavery type debate. And we thought at once we might lose, but then some of the Republicans saw the value of the change. And I think a part of it was the leadership of Governor Haley, very excellent leadership. She had kind of touch, timing, and toughness. I think there's lots of credit. So there's Joe Riley, mayor of Charleston. I think the second piece was the power of the blood of the innocent. After all, what has driven this has been the power of the Charleston Nine, their blood. That was a crucifixion. This is a resurrection. New hope, new faith, and new possibilities. And the third thing is the power of industry. Now that companies like Boeing are here and BMW here and Michelin are here, these companies will not stay behind the Confederate flag. And so several dynamics came together, contested at the same time.
And Reverend, you have taken a strong stand about inclusion and about people of all colors and backgrounds, races, educational levels, of all income levels coming together and finding common ground. It's been a difficult year or so in the nation for race relations with riots in Ferguson and Baltimore and massive demonstrations in New York City. Do you think that we're on the upside here? Are we moving down the path of healing and understanding?
Well, I hope we'll turn to, for example, the South should start resisting easy access to voting, for example. And that's a piece of it. A fair share of contracts and jobs is a piece of it. Access to health care is a big piece of it. And I think if the South decides to join the Union, instead of benefits that come from the Union, we will be a better South. We cannot just settle, it seems to me, for symbolism, but it has been a tough few years because the income gap and the wealth gap and the opportunity gap for black people has been increasingly difficult.
And finally, Reverend Jackson, you mentioned the segregation that you experienced as a child, as a small boy, seeing it unfold. I know that you joined the civil rights movement. You became a supporter and a worker with Dr. Martin Luther King for equality, and you were there the day that he was shot standing beside him. I'm just wondering, what do you think his reaction would be to this day?
Dr. King would be joy. And you know, when we got the right, when blacks got the right to vote in 1965, for the first time since 1870, 70 years, 95 years, blacks couldn't vote. White women couldn't serve on juries in the South. 18-year-olds who were serving in Vietnam could not vote. You couldn't vote on campus. You could not vote bilingually. So that was a great thrust. And from those struggles after 65 came President Barack in 2008 in Washington. Now, we say after these crucifixions, these Medgar Evers, Emmett Till type assassination, Dr. King type assassination, those who survive must then fight like never before to fulfill their dreams. And so in some sense, they will fulfilling Dr. King's dream as barriers come down in the South and bridges are built. When bridges are built and barriers come down, we all prosper.
Reverend Jackson, I always appreciate your particular insight, your expertise, and thank you so much for joining us today, again, from your home state of South Carolina.
Thank you, Contessa.